because I make it sit too long. That could be part of it.
Who knows?
Welcome everybody. I am Lucky, your host of the Lucky Ones podcast, and we are so happy that you are here joining us tonight. Let me go ahead and mute this so that it doesn't. Here we go. Yay! I caught it way earlier than I normally catch it. So, yay me. Tonight, I am joined by my awesome co host, Amanda Marshall, the Mad Marshall herself. And I'm sure we'll have some other ladies popping in as well. And then our amazing special guest, the one, the only, Miss Camille White Palmer. So we are so happy that you are here with us tonight. Thank you for agreeing to come on the show and just talk to us a little bit about the thing that connects us all, arm wrestling.
Hand holding.
And yes, hand holding. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
Doing good. I'm just excited to get on and meet people. You know, like we all say, we're just like Instagram friends.
Right?
So I'm like, hey, they're real people.
Yes, we are. Real, hopefully nice. Hopefully you like us after we're done here.
Well, take it easy on me then.
Of course, of course. So, give us your background. What got you into this awesome sport?
Okay, well, that's kind of probably a 5-minute question because it's
Take
very
all your time
strange.
you need.
I started going to the gym or like lifting heavy in 2001. So at the very end of the year, because I didn't want to go New Year's Day, I started lifting in like December 28th. So I was in the gym before all the New Year's people started coming and started my lifting journey. I mean, I've always been an athlete and I did sports all through high school, but of course you take a break and you have a family and you do all those things. And so that was me re-entering working out again. So I started just lifting weights in the gym and into that journey a little bit of years. I had an opportunity to do powerlifting. So just locally here in town, they would do a powerlifting competition. So I started with that. And that was in 2016. So again, I'd been in the gym about 5 years, still working hard, started to power lift and did that competition. And then, of course, that was addicting. But a year forward, so now we're 2017, the powerlifting meet director moved to Africa. So now nobody is available to run the meet. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I want to do a strength sport of some kind, but what is available? So I scroll the list and I'm like, oh, arm wrestling, that's for strong people. Like, sure, I'll sign up. So
Nice.
in 2017, I signed up to arm wrestle, had no idea. I'm just like, I'm going to learn on the fly. I know there's weight classes.
Right.
So, the morning of the competition, I go to a spin class. So I go to spin so I can like lose my 1 pound or whatever I need to do to weigh in. I get to the tournament to weigh in, and then I find out, well, there's only 3 ladies. You know what I mean? There's 3 ladies, so there's technically like no weight class. So I was like, oh well, I just like went to spin class for an hour to make weight for something I don't even know what I'm doing to show up for. And everybody at the tournament's very nice. They know I'm new. They have no idea who I am. So it goes well. I mean, I think I ended up getting a gold and a silver. I can't remember exactly, but
What?
I mean, like I'm strong, guys. I'm strong. But it was one of those things, even that I do to this day where I get caught. Like, I mean, I get caught having to come all the way back. So I guess for the crowd, it was kind of exciting and it was a new face. And anyway, it was fun, but I left there thinking like, okay, that was fun. Now I'll just go back to lifting weights. So that's
Gotcha.
just what I did because I did not know arm wrestling was a thing. Like I just was like, oh, well, there's no powerlifting, so I'll arm wrestle.
Right.
So another year goes by. The same tournament is like every year. So a whole year goes by, and now it's 2018, and I come to the same tournament. And I was like, okay, well, this is pretty fun. Like, again, I think I ended up getting a couple golds. I think I pulled both classes. It's probably the same three ladies. You know what it's the same, it looks the same. So another year goes by. I'm not doing any arm wrestling. I don't even know that that is an actual thing that people practice for. I'm just still lifting weights. So I show up to the tournament in 2019. So this is my third tournament that I do once a year. Again, it goes really good. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the people. And then, of course, 2020 comes around, and that's COVID. So there's nothing. Like there's no tournaments, there's no lifting, there's nothing happening in the world. But during that time, I actually ordered an arm wrestling table online because I was like, I don't know, maybe I can just do stuff at home. Like I don't know what I would do with it, but I will order an arm wrestling table. So I get the arm wrestling table, and it's just sitting around at my house. And of course, we're all on lockdown, and ESPN starts running like wall tournament. Like I'm just like, this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen. Like I'm watching arm wrestling on TV, and so I'm trying to connect the dots. Like, is this a real thing? Because I just show up to a tournament once a year, like, and I don't know that there's teams. They practice, so it kind of just like sparks a fire of like, I think this is real. Like, because these are people that are on TV. And of course, I had seen Game of Arms because that was also, just a nightly thing that I would do because I watch sports. But when I was watching it, it was more like, is this like an underground club? I mean, it really was like, what is this? Because the characters or the people that I was watching were very intriguing and super cool. And I was like, it was like watching Miami Vice or anything else when you're just like, you're so involved. And it was like the one show per week that I was like, I made sure my kids went to bed and I could just like sit and watch it. And then I'd wait for another week for the next episode to come out.
Right.
So it was around, and I knew it was there, but I also did not know it was like a thing. I just was, So anyway, 2020, I'm kind of at home with my arm wrestling table, and I'm kind of excited because I'm seeing it on TV. It's on ESPN. So I'm like, this is cool stuff, guys. Like, this is real. And we have to wait a whole nother year because the world's shut down. So anyway,
right.
In April of 2021, I go to my next tournament. So it's close to home. It's only about 45 minutes away. But this tournament was just different. I mean, there was probably like 6 or 7 ladies. Just the way it was set up a lot different. There was kind of like some excitement, but I mean, I'm there by myself. I took my daughter with me because, I don't know what I'm just walking into, again, a tournament that I don't even know what I'm doing.
Right.
And after the tournament, like it went really well. I think again, it was for money, which also I thought was crazy because I'd only ever won medals at these other tournaments. So I was like, oh, I'm also leaving with an envelope with cash in it. Like I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
So that was exciting. But after the tournament ended, and I'm there with just my daughter. Somebody from Las Vegas who was there approached me and said, well, what team are you with? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we just saw you sitting here by yourself, so we're not sure like who's with you. Like, what other people are you here with? And I said, I'm just here by myself. I'm not here with anybody. And he was like, so you don't train or like you don't go to practice with any other groups? And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, you mean you have a team? Like, you guys practice? So we visited for a minute and exchanged numbers, and he just said, well, I'm from Las Vegas and we hold practices, so if you would be interested in coming. And of course it was kind of awkward because I was just like a single female with my daughter, and it was just a
Right.
guy approaching me. So I was very cautious. Like, I don't
Sure.
know, this is kind of weird. So anyway, got brave enough that over the next couple of days or weeks, like at least exchanging texts, like, you should come to a practice. Like, we're going to host a practice. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because again, just being single and cautious in that way.
Right.
Anyway, I just decided I would go, and it worked out great. I mean, I got to meet the Las Vegas like arm wrestling club and team. And then I felt like I at least had a person there that was like at least looking out for me in a way that
invested.
Yeah, like I'm also, single and kind of solo. And so it was crazy. It really was less like life changing, because I knew this is a group of people who get together and actually practice and, try to make each other better. So that introduced me to practices, which I did not know was a thing. So in April of 2021, that kind of started my summer of going to like 2 practices a month. I mean, I think I traveled to Las Vegas 2 practices, which is 2.5 hours for me. Like, I was driving like a good distance to get to a practice and then coming home. So it just was awesome. Just to know that there was a community of people out there that get together. Because again, I didn't know that it was a thing. And maybe I'm not the only one that thinks that, but it was really foreign that I was like, this is actually like a sport. And you probably get that. And I'm sure like when I tell people I arm wrestle, they're like, oh, that's a thing. So I get it. I get being on both sides now. So anyway, that was how I got into it, was kind of by chance. And then actually having somebody that would extend the olive branch, like be like, this is just like a thing. So
awesome.
I was apprehensive because it was a male, but it worked out. But I think as a female, that makes me even more driven to just be like, females, like, come and do this. Like, it's so cool. And we're a community and we're friends and we support each other.
Definitely. So, Grandma Rose has entered the chat. So hello, Grandma Rose. Rosemarie Alvarez. So thoughts and prayers to you as you go. Hi, Brandy. As you are going through some of your stuff that you've been sharing on Facebook. And so I won't put it out on here, but I just, we're thinking of you, praying for you. Stay strong, friend. But yeah, no, we joke on the show all the time that arm wrestling is very much Fight Club. When you don't know about it, you don't know about it. But then when you know about it, like, everybody in it, the ins and outs, the pay-per-views, the announcers, the Canadians, the Swedes, you know everything.
You try anyway. I mean, I still feel like, I'm still super green. Like, I am just also even sometimes naive, or I don't really know anyone from the East Coast. I mean, it's just hard, I think, to know everybody and know everything. So if I don't know you or I don't know your name, I'm like really sorry. I probably know your face, or I probably know, I'll be like, I know I've seen him somewhere, but I don't know. So anyway, but yeah, April of 2021 was really my first, like, okay. And then I started going to practices, and that first year I competed. So from April of 21 to the next April, I did 10 tournaments.
And you kicked butt at a bunch of them. I was looking at some of your stats.
I did decently, but still,
there's always room for growth. There's always room, but I think that's what I really appreciate about like a puller like yourself, where like you can see where you've made like strides, and you can see still where you have room to really just like, okay, I want to maybe, do better in this area, or do better in this area, or, when I rematch against this person, I'm going to try this instead and see, if I can find my lane,
Yeah.
because I mean, even just looking, you're a very impressive puller. I've always been impressed with a lot of the videos that I've seen, from you and Katie, you and Haley, you and Sarah. I just think you're super impressive. But I'm just, I'm excited for you too to continue to just grow and make
Yeah.
waves in the sport.
And that's another thing that's so interesting about this is it's difficult. Like
Right.
for me, this does not come natural. Everything about this is being learned and growth is happening just at a very slow rate. Like I would love to grow faster, but it's not natural to me. The
Right.
strength part is one thing, but just learning even how to move your body, like not be so stiff and where your feet go, all that that part took a year to even
Right.
figure out where I want to put my feet. Or people were talking in conversations and they're talking about pronation and supination, and I'm just like, what is that? Like, I'm like, excuse me, I don't know. You'll have to slow down because I'm still like so new. So I appreciate the fact that it's not easy. It's hard for me. And if I can see growth in myself, then I'm happy with that. Because even like getting ready for this interview, I watched old videos and I was dying laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stiff. I could see like how people would always say, you're just like, you're so stiff. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. But until you practice it enough or see yourself doing it, it just, I don't know. And really one of my early on tournaments. I mean, we're talking like probably the sixth tournament that I ever did. I mean, I went to the all ladies tournament in Texas, and the first person I had to pull was Lee Aaron. So that is
That's just
like,
not fair. That's not
right?
right.
I don't know who that is. I am literally so green. No, no one. I get up on the table and I was like, well, I just got schooled like so easily. And then after that, and then I'm like, then I pull Sarah McKinney, and then I pull Jolene, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, who are these monsters? Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, like I know that I have potential, and people were saying like, oh, you have so much potential. So I go in feeling like good. Not, I wouldn't say I felt prepared because I was nervous. I've only pulled several tournaments, but I was like, wow, this is another level. Like this is on a level like unknown. And so it made me excited though, because those are the mountains I want to climb. It's just going to take me longer than most, and I'm fine with that. Like I can wait around. I can wait my turn to make strides.
Very cool. So what would you say is like, so you mentioned a lot that's like a lot of the positivity in this sport, which I think is just amazing. And a lot of us here on the podcast would 100% agree with a lot of the stuff that you said are positives. But what would you say is like the favorite thing about the sport so far for you? The challenges of it, or just the excitement of the matches, or
I mean, for me, it's a two-part, because definitely the challenge for me is the growth that I'm experiencing. And again, everybody grows differently, and mine's been slow, and I'm totally fine with that because I want to feel like I've also earned it. Like I'm also like, and retaining it is another thing. Like, if you don't practice it, then you're also not retaining what you're getting out of it. But I love the community. I love people. I love getting together in different groups. I love getting together at different practices. I love getting together on this podcast. Like, I love people. And if you get a chance to like meet me, I think obviously in my looks, like I look intimidating. And I think a lot of people don't approach me in that way because they're just like, oh, like she's got a mohawk and she's has muscles. And I'm like, as soon as I open my mouth, it's over. I mean, it's just nothing but just like nice and kind. So yeah, for me, it's just being around people. And I love the community. and it's different than the lifting community. And that's
Mhm.
another thing. Like just seems more accepting.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you hinted towards lifting, but what about when you're not arm wrestling? What are you up to? So there's the powerlifting, there's the strength training. What do you do for like fun when you're like, okay, muscles need a break now?
I don't know. I do a lot of things, and that's just because I work a lot. So that's not what you asked because you asked about
Oh,
fun. But part of it is fun, and so I coach at the high school. I'm a dance coach, so I coach high school dance, and this is actually my 12th season doing that. So I love it. I love teenagers. I love them so much.
bless
So
you.
that is something that I start my day with because that's like a 5:30 a.m. gig. Like
Awesome.
we're up and dancing at 5:30.
Do you
And
choreograph or and all that jazz with your?
yeah.
Okay,
So we hire some, we do some ourselves,
gotcha.
but it's fun to
So
just like,
you like compete with it
yeah.
against like other schools and stuff? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, just curious.
Yeah. So that is how I get to start my day, and I love that. So that is something that I love, but is also work. And then my regular or my real job is working in treatment with young adults. So I'm a youth mentor for young adults. And I teach fitness classes at 2 gyms. And so kind of like my day gets eaten up with lots of stuff. So for me, the competing part or the traveling is my fun. Like that's my
Okay.
downtime. That's when I get to do me.
You focus on you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool. And so what is so when you're looking at like your week and like with training and stuff like that and doing like the fitness classes and things like that, are you working that stuff into your training schedule? So like, okay, I just taught this class that counts as my workout for the day, or are you like doing that in addition to like the training that you're doing?
Yes.
Like in the gym?
So on my typical week, which has changed in the last 3 months, I really like kind of revamped what I'm doing. So my 2 fitness classes I teach each week, I will count as my workout. Those are usually full body workouts, and which is not my favorite, but when you're teaching a class, that's what they want. So I work out those 2 fitness classes. I'll have 3 heavy lifting days for myself. So I get 3 days to myself to fit in all my heavy lifts. And then I take a rest day, which is way unusual for me. This has only been happening in the last 3 months. And I also now take a yoga day. So that's very
Ooh,
also different. But I'm
nice.
seeing so much results. Like, I think that my body is saying thank you.
Right. That's awesome. And I know where are we at? See, we talked about coaching and fitness classes and competing and things like that. So, tell us about the Mohawk. How did that
Oh,
come about?
When did that start?
I know the Mohawk is so recognizable and I actually love it. But it's me. Like that is one thing that I try to really relay to people. Like I'm not a character or this is not like a shtick. Like this is like me. I had a desk job for 27 years before I actually just went to residential treatment. And I walked into the office like this. Like this is me. So I know that the color is kind of new because I get to kind of play and experiment a little bit more with having color, but the mohawk and my short hair has been around for years. So that is, you know, part
That's
of being
awesome.
fun and also like, I guess, empowering, but it's also, I try to explain to people like, this is me. Like when you meet me, this is genuinely me. And you would see me like this at the store, or you would see me like this at my desk job. Like sometimes I like to just wear my baseball hat because I don't want to be recognized. So that is a real thing. Like you know, I'll be places and they'll be like, I've seen you on YouTube. And I'm like, wow, cool. Or I've seen you. Somebody said the other day I was on the House of Highlights on TikTok, and I don't even know what that is. I don't even have
That's
TikTok,
awesome.
you know? So it's strange to me, but it's also, I think it's cool, but also I'm like, I don't have TikTok, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
The chat is saying happy birthday to whoever whose sign that is in the back.
Oh, that would be my daughter. She turned 18 a few weeks ago, and we just like to keep celebrating.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm still that mom. I still like to decorate for my kids' birthdays, even though they're
No, that's special.
18. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's okay. Don't change. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
18 doesn't mean that you're not their mom anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
This is true.
Camille, how young are you?
I just turned 46.
Oh, someone in their 40s like me. That's awesome. I'm 44. I think it's great. So, I mean, a lot of the women who are getting a little hitting that age bracket are just now finding arm wrestling and doing wonderful with it.
Yeah.
So seeing more 40-year-olds and I'm like, okay, I didn't find it too late. I'm good.
Right? I'm so excited.
Right?
I love this age because I think I've experienced a lot and a lot of really hard things. And so now I'm like, wow, I just feel so good. Like in a way that I'm really present in this age.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm good with this. In fact, I'm counting down to 50. I actually cannot wait to be 50.
I think a lot of my friends are like that. They're
I'm
like,
just like 50
40 was great, but 50 feels badass.
Right?
Yeah. We say that as
I need to send this.
Like killing our brain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to send this to my sister because she's turning 40 this year, and like I think it just like hit her a lot harder than she thought it was going to. So I'll have to send her this to be like, yo, listen, you're good. You're in good company.
Right?
Yeah. Go to therapy. It's okay. Talk it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I just happened to when I was in Idaho a few weeks ago, I was washing my hands at the bathroom sink and there was two other ladies in there and one was a power lifter and she was just talking to her friend and she said, well, how's your divorce going? And the lady just started to cry and she said, I just feel so bad. All my hopes and dreams are just lost. And I stopped washing my hands and I was like, I am so sorry to eavesdrop on your conversation. But I'm like, I'm divorced and all my dreams and hopes are just happening right now. Like, it's okay to like live through those hard things, but I hate hearing that you just think everything's over when it's just like, it's just getting started, man. We're just literally living. But you do have to get through hard things, but I think that's why this age and all the hard stuff you go through just makes you appreciate it more.
You can handle things a little bit more gracefully at this age.
Right?
You're like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that. I love this. Don't need that. So
yeah. I can recognize my no's very easily. I'm like, nope, that's not for me.
Yep. You're more in tune to your boundaries too. But like,
yes.
Bye-bye, bitch.
Yes. Like, so yeah, I think again, this is a really good platform or a good community to also like experience because we have a lot of different age groups. I think there's a lot of us at different ages, and I'm just
well, and you know, and especially in the sport, age doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot when it comes to, you know, how much work people are willing to put in. We saw that today at East versus West. You know, age and experience didn't necessarily win out under youth and relentlessness, but youth and relentlessness didn't necessarily pan out against their opponents either. And so I think that's a really cool thing about this sport is you never know walking to the table what's gonna happen. For the most part, there are some things where you're like, there was like one match where I was like, not surprised, but there were two others where I was like, oh snap. So,
and it makes it exciting, I think. Like,
it
doesn't matter.
arm wrestling is humbling. You just assume the bigger and the thicker and whatever, the more muscular a win, but sometimes that's just not the case. Like you said, the sport is hard. It's super hard for me. I can pick up the lifting and the curling and the OCR running. Those techniques are different, but you're telling me to do this with my hand, curl it in, crank it, drive it, punt. What the fudge are we talking about? Because I haven't even got my hips in the right. Yeah. And I still haven't got my hips in the right place.
We need you to do all of that at the same time.
Right. Then you go to the next table and then that person tells you different.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it can take up to 15 minutes to describe a match. And Mike talks about this all the time, where it's just like, first they did this, then you did this, then they did this, and then they did this, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, how long was the match? About 25 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's the most complaint that people say when it comes to arm wrestling. It's the setup and how long it takes to get things going, but people don't realize what's actually going on in the grip and the cheating or the pushing and all the stuff that's not supposed to be happening. And nerves. Oh my God, nerves. How nervous do you get before matches?
I guess it depends on where I'm at. If I'm somewhere familiar, like I've been to this location before, then not as much. Or if I know, like I've at least gripped up with half of these people before, then not as much. But obviously, if I'm going into somewhere new I've never been, or gripping up with somebody new, I can immediately feel nerves because from the grip, I'm like, oh, this is a grip, like she's ready, or I'm like, oh, I can feel like it's a little softer and not quite as. So yeah, I guess. And I only recognize that now. Believe me, it's taken 3 years to get to that point. Because normally I would just be like, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna walk up to the table and hope I remember what to do. And nope, it all goes away. Like previously, like it all left. But I've been able to
You
tell.
get more nervous at like arm wrestling, strict curl, or when your girls are competing on the dance? Or when your team is competing?
That's a good question. Again, I think it just depends on the location and what I'm doing, if I'm familiar in that, or on the size of the stage. Because when I've competed at the Arnold, that's a huge stage. Like to be on that, I definitely feel the nerves there. Same thing, I feel the nerves for my dance girls depending on what the stakes are. Like, is this like a big one? Is this like the do or die? Is this, we have to have this many points to move on. So I guess it depends.
Leading into the strict curl, I know Stephanie wanted to talk to you a little bit about like power curling and strict curling and all that jazz. So I'm going to turn it over to her for a little while.
I don't even know what there is to say. Camille's the new queen.
Oh, let's be careful about those words we throw around. I'm definitely working towards being one of the best. Yes. So that is something that I'm really, really driving for. And I think I kind of alluded to that earlier, but in the lifting world, it's just a little bit different than arm wrestling. Like, I feel like here in our community, we're pretty good to support each other. And when I'm lifting, I'm a little bit more like, look at me. I mean, I really have to like promote myself and put myself out there and be like, wait a minute, like I just broke a record. Like, could I just at least get acknowledged? So, and it's getting better. I mean, I would say in the last, over my last couple meets, it's been a little bit better. But it's not easy to break into something that I'm an outsider. Like, I'm being kind of seen as coming in as like an underdog, and now I'm challenging for the top spot. So it's been different.
I felt like I was getting close, and then you came along, and then I'm the underdog.
Hey, listen, I love it. Let's push each other.
I know.
That's what I need.
when you said it depends on where you're at, I felt like you were just comfortable. Like, I feel like you could be at home at Grinder Gym in San Diego, just like I could be at home at Grinder Gym and at CT's gym. Like, I feel completely at home at both of those places. And they've got so many different mix of people there too, but I feel at home. You feel at home there too?
I do feel at home, but I think it depends on the competitors that are around.
Yeah,
I
believe
definitely feel at home, but then the level changes with who the players are.
So completely true. Yeah, definitely. We take that for granted.
Yeah.
The same set, like same idea I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think your powerlifting and strict curl has played a part in arm wrestling, or has arm wrestling played a part more in your powerlifting and strict curl? Or do you feel like they're kind of just like their own entities?
So I think, again, this is a little bit two-part because strict curl has now made me more confident. I think all around, like it makes me feel like, okay, so I am a good athlete. I'm just really still learning and growing in arm wrestling. Like, because you hear that you're good or you hear you have potential. And I think that can lead to somewhere where I went was thinking, oh, like I'm going to be really good at this. And I think that I'm growing, but I think, like I said, coming into those tournaments with those monster ladies that I didn't know who they were. I have no idea who these people are, but getting schooled or getting humbled a little bit, like really making you work for that, because those are the things that you want to work toward. If you want to be the best, then you really need to work on your skills. So again, I'm not a quitter and I really work hard at the things I do, but at least strict curling, I guess, came a little bit more naturally, and probably because it's just like gym lifting. So it's been awesome to be able to have a little bit of confidence, even though I'm still having to prove myself. Like I'm still having to say, well, wait, what about me? Like look over here. I'm also like, still setting some big numbers. But then arm wrestling makes me sore, like, of course, that in that way. So it kind of prevents me from being able to hit big numbers if I'm curling. So I've had to learn how to balance the two. So I think what I've been doing over the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, like it's been in every other. Like I'll arm wrestle 1 month and compete. I'll strict curl the next month. Then I'll arm wrestle, strict curl. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that. So for me, it's just been balancing the two. But of course, I mean, everybody curls. Like if you're arm wrestling, you're at least doing bicep curls or some kind of curls. So I think the curling is adding to arm wrestling. It's just sometimes the soreness of arm wrestling inhibits me from getting bigger numbers in my lifts.
Gotcha. Stephanie, have you pulled, Camille?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The girls talking about, they asked if she broke my arm.
I remember watching. She's like, "No, she's good. We went out to eat afterwards," because I sent one of y'all a message, and then I was like, "What did you get hurt?" Like, and you were like, "Oh, it was your pec, right, Steph?"
Yeah.
So
I knew that.
You see the slip, and it's like, "Oh shit," and then you're like, "Okay."
Okay.
Well, listen,
I remember
this. Listen, we pulled left, and she got me left. And then we're sitting around and she's like, well, Camille, I just don't know why you don't use all your power. She's like, what are you doing? And so I was like,
hit me with your power.
I was like, fine, we get up there, right? And I'm like, how do you like that power?
She's like, my boob.
And that's what's so awesome and funny about it is like I felt terrible, but I was like, okay, well, with Steph, like you just know, like we're good. And true story, we literally, like, I paid for her Uber to go to the hospital to get looked at. She came back to the tournament. We went to dinner. Like, everything was cool.
I feel like a terrible podcast host. I knew this story, but I did not put two and two together. Sorry.
No, and then Camille sent in a story to some guy that sent me a donation. What was that?
Oh yeah, so listen, just so you guys know too, Steph is like such a true friend. And I literally had met her one time. I met her once and I don't even know if I met her at Grinder Gym or what, but I got up enough nerve and I got up enough like courage to ask her if I could come and stay at her house because I wanted to come and compete in California, but we all know like traveling is expensive. So I just randomly text her and I was like, hey, I want to come to this tournament, but do you think it would be okay if I come stay at your house? And she was like, sure. So that's kind of how our friendship began, is in that way. So again, last year I competed 6 times in California and I stayed at Steph's every time. So I'm looking for more friends like that. Like I will be willing to travel, but who can pay for hotels? Like that's just crazy.
That's why we have to group
literally
up and go together.
I would sleep on
or
the
not.
couch. Yeah.
I mean, not that you're not welcome to, but I don't know if you want to.
Well, that's why I'm like, listen, I'll sleep on your couch.
We can go anywhere.
But yeah, so I got to know Steph pretty good, like over being able to stay with her, and I love her kids, and it's nice to get to know her family. And the day I came in to stay with her, and I don't remember which time it was last year, but I knew she was kind of in a tough spot. So I saw somebody put up on their Instagram story, let me know if there's anybody I could help today. Like I will Venmo them $500 if you tell me like somebody who needs help. So I messaged the guy and I said, here's the deal. I'm in California. I'm staying at my friend's house. We arm wrestle and I literally injured her yesterday. It was totally an accident, but I know that she could really use the money. And he was like, oh, no questions asked. And then he just Venmoed her $500.
Which I totally used because I didn't DoorDash.
Yeah.
But it was completely like, it was exactly what we needed to get by.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
That's awesome.
What an
That's
awesome story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good stuff right there.
And that's what, I mean, that's what Ladies Arm Wrestling needs to be right there. I mean, 100% wrapped up in a beautiful story. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't matter who beat who or who won who. You were able to take like a mutual like tie, if you will, and then turn it into something that was really cool.
I can say that when I'm watching people pull like for today, I had my favorites, don't get me wrong, but then I was like, I'm just happy to see more women at East versus West, and I can't wait till
And the two, shout out to the two women that did best of 7 to give us even more time on the thing. Like, thank you, ladies, for not copying out a best of 5, pulling best of 7, giving us more time. Because yes, we had the 3 matches, but thank you, ladies. That was awesome.
So, and again, you're watching them, and as long as I just want you to put on a good show. I don't want to see someone get slapped down and easily beat. Like, I want to see them fight for it. And God, Carolina, good Lord. Anybody who has that endurance, her endurance on the table is unreal. So, and I think a lot of us girl crush on her so much here in America.
Well, I think the whole team, like just
their camaraderie is at another level.
That is something that I admire, and I knew that that question was going to be coming up, but I'm like, listen, that is something that I'm like, we need that. Mm-hmm. We need those 5 or 6, you know, the posse of people who stick together and then bring more in, like that we train together, we eat together, we travel together, like we show up to places.
I think we need to go over there. Hopefully they'll invite us. A group of us go and absorb what they have.
Yeah.
And just bring it back here and nurture it and develop it. Because they really do have, I mean, I haven't even met these ladies and I love them.
Yeah.
Right. You know? No, the dead weight comment was my favorite line of the day. If you know, you know. But that was the best line of the day, in my opinion. For her standing up there, and when she said that, I was like, that's funny, because it comes from a place of like true like love and encouragement. I mean, there's that underline of truth, but it is that also like this is what we expect from you, and that high expectation that I feel like we as American women, I feel like we can definitely learn from that as well, of being like, hey, this is kind of what we expect from you. This is the level of integrity we want to see. This is the level of professionalism we want to see. And if you provide that, then why not, make sure that those are the women that we are truly supporting and uplifting and bringing, strong attention to.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, um, if we want more women in, then we got to be more welcoming. I know sometimes when we're at the table, we want our wins, we're in our individual zone. And when you're doing that, you go do you. But if you want more women to pull, then we've got to be, I don't know, more homely,
Yeah.
And some places are not like that. Like sometimes women are not like that. We're very not welcoming. I think I didn't even start liking women until I started doing CrossFit, because they made you feel good in your own skin about being a thicker girl. Come in, wear the shorts. Don't let anybody body shame you. Okay. Because it's hot. You don't
Well,
need to
and
be wearing.
that's what Burn Boot Camp did for me. Is like
Yep.
I never had a squad of girls growing up ever. And it's not that
Yeah.
I didn't like girls. Girls didn't like me. I
Yeah.
was not the problem. Uh, but just kidding, guys. It's a joke. But no, Burn Boot Camp, like, and I think women who work out together, it's just a different type of bond that we build. And
Yeah. And
I mean, even if we're not next to each other, like at two different Smith machines or whatever, like, arm wrestling or competing with each other and, working
I think we
towards
lose
that
that
goal.
cynicism for each other as well when you put a thick girl and a skinny girl in here and they're like, oh my God, you're so skinny. And they're like, I've been trying to gain weight for 5 years, you know? And the other one's like, really? She's like, yeah, I had this whatever issue. And then they're like, oh, well, I have lipedema. I can't even get the fat off my legs, you know? So there's that humility, that grace that we give each other, you know. I think that helped a little bit with COVID too, where we all had more respect for stay-at-home moms, teachers, all that stuff. We're like, oh shit, it really does suck on both ends. So we're officially in it together, you know. So
Agreed.
yeah, but I don't know, Camille, what would you say is the next thing that what keeps women from getting into arm wrestling from your point of view?
I'm not sure. I've even had a few try, like around here locally, even like inviting them. The last one that I had, super strong girl. Like she comes from, of course, lifting. And she was focusing on strongman and powerlifting. Came to a practice. I mean, pulled really hard at practice, and then never saw her again. And she's like, my arms are just too sore. She said, my arms are just so sore and I'm worried I'm not going to be able to lift again. So she just abandoned. She was like, I can't risk not being able to lift weights.
That muscle strain will scare you.
And I
It's
kept, no matter what I did, I'm like, guess what? It goes away. I promise. Like, I
yeah,
promise. I promise. Like, there were times I would go into the bathroom at a practice and I would cry. And I'm not a crier. Like that's so embarrassing almost to say that. But I would just have to go in the bathroom and I would shed a few tears and then I would go back out and get on the table. And like, we all know it goes away, but it does take time to condition those tendons to do the things that we're asking them to do.
or keep that arm extended straight after practice. You don't
Yeah.
keep it bent.
Yeah. And then I think another
I'm
girl I
getting
had
that
come
Devin
to
Lorette
practice,
arm.
like the thought of it was really exciting. And she actually pulled a tournament and um, then just like kind of lost interest. So I was just like, I mean, I tried. I don't know.
You know, but they did. They showed up, they gave it a whirl, they said it
Yeah.
wasn't for me. So at least
Hmm.
they tried it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I think a lot of people don't see it as a sport. Like you said, if you don't know about it, then
Yeah.
you don't know about it.
And
So
really, you have to do a lot in this sport. I mean, as a woman, but as just an arm wrestling competitor, you have to usually travel. Like, I don't have a lot of things that happen here locally. Like, I've got to go 1 or 2 states away sometimes to like make tournaments. So,
yep, there's not much here. I'm in South Carolina, and
Mhm.
like just maybe once a year there might be something, but I have to go other places.
Yeah, so it is a thing. Like, if you're not willing to really commit to the sport, like, I can see why. But that's another reason why I think if there was a group or a couple of you, or there's no way I could go to California and compete this much without Steph. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think making those friendships or those relationships and then going from there, like, I would
Mhm.
love to go further east, but I'm just like, how do I do that? Like, I need to
You
find a
come share an
buddy,
Airbnb with us.
right? I'm just like,
Thanks.
I need a
What you doing July 27th?
I want to travel with the professor. I think that I want to get in the car and do a road trip with the professor.
Yeah.
I totally feel safe with him, split in the hotel, and I hope that he's a good driver. That's pretty easy. I feel like if I
His
had,
car, I will say that I've seen his car and it is dent free and like nickel clean fresh. So I think you're good.
I don't know. Camille, have you thought about pulling a round robin?
not really.
I wanted to see you in the first one, but Lorraine's got something coming up again, and
And that's the thing. I think I'm just barely getting comfortable with my weight because this is also a thing. I pulled my first entire year in the 155s. So I was cutting weight down to 155 to pull that smaller class for the first, I don't know, 14 months or year and a half or something. And I just never felt well. I just did feel like tired and lethargic, and weight cuts suck, and then sitting in the airport and not being able to eat and trying to get to your place to weigh in. And I was like, something's got to give. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what my weight is, to be honest. Like, I know I'm not small, but I'm also not big. So over the past however many months, I don't know, 8 or 6 months, I'm just like, this is me. I'm just committing to, like, I'm just showing up at the weight I am. I'm not cutting. There's 2 weight classes, 155 or 155 and up. Like, that's so
yeah.
I know where I stand. I'm now decided that I'm in that upper class, which I think is hard. I haven't pulled a lot of those people who I also think are much more seasoned than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to figure out where I am, and maybe a round robin's a good place to do that. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm kind of just
So
like,
what I'm hearing is we need weight classes, huh? We've been talking about that for a while.
But you know what? Just like a lot of promoters said, the reason we have those two is because those are the two that show up.
Exactly.
Right.
So from what I'm hearing is that we need to call out these thick girls and be like, come on.
Right.
And then add, an extra weight class, because I'm 195. I'm not dropping to 150s. Sorry. I may hit 180, 185, and then I'm stopping. So yeah, but kudos to everybody who pulls in that class and does well. You're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and I was so excited because Sean Hancock offered a tournament in Vegas last year, and there was a 170 class. So I was like, oh, this is like, I can commit to that. I'll commit to that, whatever, 7 pounds or whatever it was. And I did it. I mean, I showed up on the day, weighed in 170 on the dot. There was 2 ladies there, and the other one was not 170. So I was like, I did it. I like went to the weight class, and I don't know. So being a little bit disappointed, but also I'm like, hey, I can lose the weight if I need to. I just don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So
that's fair.
I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
mean, it's definitely one of those things where, like, you can't have the cart without the horse, and then the horse doesn't want to pull the cart.
exactly.
And so, and then it's, and I've been one to be very open on this podcast about, women who show up should be rewarded with what they are willing to put in, and and sorry if that hurts feelings, but if you have a lightweight class that doesn't have anybody show up, then go ahead and add that midweight for those women who are showing up and who are willing to pull,
Yeah.
or or even a higher weight or whatnot. But I mean, at
And
least have weight classes. Don't just keep it open, promoters. That's
let's
my
be
one.
honest. Let's be honest. The lower weight class women do put their money in to pull up.
Mhm.
They will.
Yeah.
They have. I mean, I haven't met anyone who hasn't.
I always did. When I put
Yeah.
this in I always pulled up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'm already here. I might as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a win-win because then it adds more to the class. They get more practice. They get to see where they at. So hey, if I go up in weight, I don't go, or I'm dominating where I'm at and high and low, then they know
Right.
they're excelling so much further and different tournaments are on their target. So yeah,
Right.
it's a win-win for the
It
pull up.
is, and I'm not saying if there's one girl who pulls up that don't give her a weight class. I'm not saying
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. But I
I'm
know what you mean. If us thick girls are there, we'll give us that 170 up. So
right, right,
yep.
or throw in that middle weight if that's what is is that what your demographic? And then I think that's what the big thing about it is too, is like the promoters and the pullers need to come together and be like, this is where I'm at, and so that they know what they need to gear towards. Because if you're not showing up for 4 years of somebody running the tournament, and then you show up year 4 and then get upset that they don't have something for you, well, where you been the last 4 years, boo? What?
Yeah. And then what tournaments have a lot of turnouts? Michigan had a lot of ladies turn out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ladies there. Does Ohio do well? What
No.
else is warm? What's the
No.
most you've had at a tournament, Camille?
Well, here in Utah in the fall,
Utah is crazy.
yeah, we do have
You
awesome
got the
Utah.
Team Spurs that come
Yeah.
out.
But Bob Brown puts on the Brazink Cup every November,
Right, you're there.
and there is a lot of ladies that show up. I mean, I think the one year we had 16. And so he does it as you come the day, you weigh in, then he makes the weight classes.
So
We had 3 weight class. It was really awesome for him to do that, but you have to get the turnout. I understand how it works, but
yeah.
Right.
And I know he doesn't want amateurs there, no novice.
No novice.
Which still come and show, still come and watch, do the after polls. You're still welcome.
Yeah.
But Gabrielle's there, Learen's there, Mosai's there, Sarah's there, you're there. What was Latona? There's Sarah LaFawn.
Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a lot of women. So I mean, there's a lot of strong women.
Yeah, we do have a nice turnout of women here in Utah.
And Jolene, we can't
thing.
forget Jolene.
Oh, I love to get smashed.
Still learning.
Jolene. That's my favorite joke with her. I was like, damn, I just love to get smashed by you.
Her and Megan Blake, not to take away from y'all's matches, but because yeah, she's incredible. But Megan Blake has like the best captions when she posts her video versus Jolene. I die every time. I'm just like, oh, poor Megan.
Yeah.
I mean, and because that's Megan pulling up, and props to her because she decides she cuts so she can pull one, and then she's like, no, give me the challenge.
She's always happy and smiling, win, lose, whatever. She is nothing but smiles.
Yeah. We love us some Megan Blake on this show.
Yes, we do.
So, all right, so I'm lucky. I decided I'm going to the West Coast. Where should I compete at?
Oh, well, you should probably come hang out with me and Steph
Okay.
because we like to have a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, not too good, but like also there's always good stories. There's always some really good stories involved.
But if I'm shooting for like an event, like who's gonna be the event to go to?
Well, I just said the Brazilian Cup always has the
Brazilian Cup.
most ladies. It's the biggest ladies tournament I've ever been to.
Gotcha. Hey Jody, welcome in. And he says, "What's up, Camille?"
What's up?
So
Well, I know I'll be in Cali come October 5th because Stephanie has obliged with giving me my first super match. So I finally get to meet Miss Lovely. So you can always come there on October 5th and we'll meet because Katie's coming down and she's going to take Stephanie's left. So,
What? Taking my left?
oh, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
oh, she's
You know what I
taking
mean?
here
She's
first,
taking
man.
she's taking
taking
the
it
left
here
arm. I'm gonna
first.
work with the right arm.
You've
You know
heard
what I
it
mean?
here, folks.
We're gonna-
Amanda Marshall has
Nope,
made her
that's not what I
predictions.
Stephanie, that's not what I meant. I meant is she's got a left arm match. I got the right arm match.
And then I get the after pull after all three of you wear each other all out.
Yep.
If you are you gonna come to Cali?
No, I'll think about it.
All right, flights are super cheap too, man. I already got them super cheap.
I'll think about it. I have to see. I have to see what my life is like. My life is kind of in limbo at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not canceling out though. Hey, and if I do come out, Camille, you and I could do a super match for the event.
There you go.
I think that your event is the week before the Olympia.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm saving
Gotcha.
some room for the O.
Well, that's okay. You can just lay it down to me, so I automatically qualify for the Arnolds. That's
right.
Okay.
We can kind of make it seem exciting.
Right.
Let me take one for the
I'll even put my braids in a mohawk just for you.
Oh man, the pay-per-view that's gonna come in from that.
Right. Awesome. So tell us about your favorite match so far.
Oh gosh, I don't really know if I have any. I know what the crowd likes, which is the opposite of what I like, but they all like to see a comeback. Like I will get in the worst position you can ever imagine, and I just have to sit there and hold forever and then come all the way back, which is taxing and tiring and hurtful on your arm. But I know that that's, at least locally around here, like that's what people think is cool. Like, you know, a flash pin.
I need to move there so Casso stops yelling at me.
Yeah.
I think your most famous match was with Leroy.
Well, that's true. That's at Austin Fit Fest. I filmed a little bit of arm wrestling with my lifting coach Leroy, and that's floating around in the TikTok world, which again I know nothing about.
Don't worry, I don't do TikTok either, so you're not alone there.
I'm just always like, am I the only one?
No,
I don't do it either.
Okay.
No.
Well, shoot fire. I do it. I guess I'm the only one.
Yep, you are.
Such a tables have turned. I need to start doing YouTube shorts like Stephanie. Stephanie, you told me to do YouTube shorts, and I need to get my life together and do them like she says too. I just forget.
I'm going to start sending you some videos so we can double up.
Sweet, please do.
Ziana's little arm wrestling video got like a
because when you send them to me, I feel like obligated. Like I'm like, oh, Stephanie put in the work. Let me go ahead and upload this. But like when I just have them sitting on my phone, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow.
That's interesting because I don't even like filming myself. My trainer's like, film your lift for me, and I'm like, okay, I'll get on it. And then I'm out there and I'm lifting. I'm like, oh, the camera. Who does that? That's just like the setup. I just need to do the workout. I'm good. You know, if I need a form check, we can FaceTime. How about that? But I'm not one for filming myself. I feel like it's vain for me, not for everybody else. If you're doing it for form checks, it makes sense. It's weird, and I don't always like it when people catch me doing something unless it's a PR, you know.
Well, don't say
But I admire
watching. You are definitely overthinking.
Yeah,
you have to post them to inspire others. You never know who's watching. You never know who's going to be inspired by that lift that you are feeling conscious about. You have to think of it in a different way. Think, look at this amazing job I did, and I want to help you do the same thing.
And see, that's interesting because I rather watch people's failures as they get to where they're trying to succeed. Like before my last tournament, which again, I get nervous and I choke, but I watched people who are successful now. I watched all their failing videos going, okay, this is where I'm at, but that's where I'm going. So that was more inspiration to me going, all right, I'm just on the long road. I'm still at the beginning. So that gave me the courage to still show up. So, but yeah, I think it's more I'm self-conscious about my body. That's the filming more aspect of it because I don't wear shorts out in public. I don't. I am very self-conscious about how the fat sits on my legs, but I will wear a tank top and show my arms, and I know I got some jiggle in there. So, but I think that's really what it boils down to. It's just being self-conscious.
I have Xana come out, and if there's any little kids to pull, she pulls, and then she's doing strict curl and whatever lifting contest we have at Grinder Gym, and she weighs like 80 pounds, and she's 12. So anybody who says, oh, I can't do it, look at Xana, she's doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so she can be an inspiration and want to invite other little kids to come join her and have a good time with her. I feel like her and the friends are the next ones to come up, even if they are skinny, and you just never know how strong she's going to be later, or maybe she's not going to even want to do it at all, and she will be there to cheer for me or you guys. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, because I did my first grip competition with a couple of girls, and we were all in our 30s, 40s, and then we had this 11-year-old with us who is secluded at school. She was getting bullied because she likes to do athletic things. She wouldn't talk to anybody there, and we made that whole competition about her. Like we didn't even care about who won. We wanted her to succeed, and she was strong as hell. Like it was amazing. So I see where you're coming from. I get that a lot, but yeah, it's just that's my insecurities for me. So I'm owning them and I'm sharing them.
That's awesome. I used to not like some of the videos, or I would get mad. Like, please do not get a crotch shot when you're filming my bench. I'm not. No one can see. I'm gonna have to redo the lift. we're like that. Like gross.
I get that.
That makes sense.
I don't like.
There are certain angles that I'm just like, nope. Delete.
Yes. Give your camera to a kid and they're going to get the worst angle ever. They will. They're going to look like you're going to be doing this and it's going to look like this. You know, that double chin's going to come in right here at this angle where you're kind of looking like that. Yeah. Give a
ticket. So your first ever tournament, Camille, you said you pulled a first and a second, which is awesome. So what are some other obviously did really well at the strict curl. I saw that video. Everybody's cheering for you. That was amazing. So what are some other cool things that we have won, or that you're just like, yes, I did that?
Okay, so this is not at all lifting or arm wrestling related.
No, that's fine.
But something that I am super proud of, and that I'm really thankful for every single day. And even if I'm failing at everything else in life, like this is a win I have every day, and that's that I'm sober. So I just barely celebrated my 12. I have 12 years of sobriety. So from the ages of 14 to 34, I was a wreck. So anyway, I finally made it out of that. barely alive, but I'm 12 years sober, and that is something I can say that I'm winning at every day. So that is that's a big one for me.
That's a huge one. That is a
And
very huge one.
I think just to kind of preface a little bit, I still like to have fun. Like, so still invite me to go out later. Still invite me to come like to karaoke, or like I love to still do all those things. I think sometimes there's a little bit of like, oh well, she doesn't drink or party, so like exclusion.
Oh no, you're gonna be the designated driver. Hello.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, guys, invite me because I will drive you home. I will get you there safe. I can do all the things.
But every time you come out, Camille, it's so late. By the time it would be the time for us to go out and do that, we are just pooped.
I know.
And all we can do is come home and sleep.
Yeah. But listen, I do like to have a good time, and I love just hanging with people. And so don't let that deter you from maybe being like, oh, well, I wouldn't know how she would feel about going out. Well, I still want to go out. I even like to dress up sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
yes, I love your Halloween costumes. You do.
Right?
You good. Your Halloween costumes are on point.
Yeah.
You should definitely throw a Halloween party for all the girls come out after a tournament or something like that, and help us pick out really costumes that fit us, because you find stuff that fits every part of your body, like from head to toe. I'm like, that's some good shit. Like, you're Hulk Hogan. I was like, what? And then you did Alice Cooper, and I was like,
Yes.
who is this bitch?
I mean, I start planning it around now. I start like coming up with ideas around summertime and then whittle it down to where I'm like, yep, this is for sure the one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But something else I also really enjoy is just inspiring others. And it's always in the most random ways. Even a guy at the gym told me this week, he just enjoys seeing me at the gym. He's like, even when you just come in and do your workouts, like, I want to put an extra plate on just for me. Like, you make me want to just do more. And I'll
That's
have
awesome.
random people I
That's
don't even
amazing.
know, because you know, Instagram and all the land, Facebook, like people will message me and just say, I just want you to know,
Hey,
like,
can you come
you're
do my
inspiring.
podcast, please?
So anyway, that's just kind of a side note of like, yeah, world records are nice, and getting medals is nice, but there's just other things that mean more.
100%. I love
Well,
that.
kudos to you, because, well, Lucky and I we don't drink,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know, I just died out of it. When taking mental health medication, it was like, don't drink with that. And then it's just not worth the risk. And then I'm always around my kids, and I don't drink around my kids. And then if you want to go out, it's like twice as much. I'm just like, what the? And I like to have more than 3. So I'm just like,
It's just like 0 or 10. There's no in the between.
Yeah. And then hangovers are worse when you get older. They last like 2 days. And I don't want that, because then I can't lift the next day. So
it's called priorities, people. We want to get to the gym.
I was just gonna say that, like, you have to choose your happy and choose your lane and choose what's gonna take precedence over. Yeah, and so for me, like, I was never really into it. Like, I did it socially for a little while, but then kind of felt myself going into like not the greatest path with it, and then started carnivore and had to cut it out completely. And like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, I can get up and I can work out every day. I can enjoy my life without it. I can enjoy people without it. I can go out and not have to worry about it. And so
have more money.
And have more money.
For arm wrestling tournaments. Well, traveling to them.
Right, exactly. Don't get me wrong. I miss my strawberry daiquiri Seagrams so bad, but you know what? I don't need them. I'm good.
I miss tasting beer from all over the world, and out there doing that stuff. But I'm okay.
No, see,
no, I don't need it.
You're more sophisticated than me. I couldn't get down with that yeast. Nope,
can't
I will happily admit that I am that girly girl that showed up and was just like, "Can I have the fruitiest thing with sugar around the rim, please?"
because if I threw that up, that's just heartburn and like, ugh, I can't do vodka. I couldn't do anything clear. That made me sick. I was one of the strong. I needed the brown stuff. So, but no, I don't miss it.
So we just had a strip curling event. So does that mean there's an arm wrestling tournament coming up, or what's your next?
Yes,
event?
actually, I will be in Texas next week, so I'll be at World Series of
Oh,
Arm
for the
Wrestling.
World Series?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
I'm so excited that you're going to that.
Yeah,
That's gonna be amazing.
There's going to be one in Utah, but of course I have a conflict. So I had to plan accordingly, and I happen to have free time. So it's Texas it is.
Is your daughter going to go with you, or you headed
She
there?
was going to, but you know what? Now she's 18 and she has to work. Like work wouldn't let her get off.
Oh no.
So that's a hard thing to explain to an 18-year-old. And she's like, well, they won't let me get the days off. And I'm like, welcome to being an adult.
Yeah, it sucks sometimes.
And the low man on the totem pole.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm just gonna make a really quick trip. It's just only Friday to Sunday, but it will still be fun.
And then finals in San Diego.
And that's why I said I really wanted to make sure I could make it to the finals. So I had to like finagle my schedule to get to Texas so I could be at the finals.
Nice.
Lucky, are you gonna go
to the finals?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm debating on whether or not I'm going in October or if I'm going to wait and go in November. So it's just
you have to go to them to qualify?
Yeah, but I'm going to the one in Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'll hopefully qualify. I don't know what's going to happen.
No, anybody who shows up qualifies. As long as you pull in one of them, you qualify.
But only certain people get them. So
He's like, I'm for the money.
Right. It's not that I'm for the money. It's the fact that I'm a teacher and I need the money.
Yeah, enough said.
So I just gotta be. I think this last year I was fortunate and blessed enough that I was financially gifted some sponsors, and then also was able to use a lot of my own to get me to a lot of different places and get me a lot of different experiences and a lot of different hands to hold, and that's been awesome. And now it's just going to be one of those things where I got to really see what that's going to look like for me in the future and kind of prioritize and really pick out where I'm going to go too, because I want to make it as educationally beneficial for myself as possible. I want to go where the Camilles are and the Stephanies are and the Americans are.
You're going to be putting more top priority tournaments in culture as opposed to practice tournaments.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense. You got your feet all wet this year and you're like, I see where I'm going. This is where I need to be. So the eyes are on different prizes next year. So that's smart.
Exactly. So yeah, so I'm not saying that I'm not, I'm not cashing in at this point and being like, all right, this was a fun year, see y'all later. But as goals change, I want to be careful about where energies and avoiding injuries and all that stuff too.
Yeah, injuries.
And maybe not pulling every single weekend like I've been doing.
Yeah, but when you're jumping in, sometimes it's just so hard, you're so excited about something that you want to be at everything. It's like when you start running races, there's a race every weekend. Oh my God, what do I do? So when you have that sport, you're like,
no, when I trained for a race, I trained for one race and one race only, and I was done. I was good after that. I was like, never again will I do this.
Mark that off the list. Check.
Exactly. No, I did, it was called the Rugged Maniac, and it was a 15 obstacle 5K, and I did 9 of the obstacles, which I was very happy about, and I did it under an hour and a half, which I was also very happy about, but Everybody was like, "Are you gonna do the one in?" No, that was it. I made my 2 goals. That was good. And then it just got confirmed because back in September I done broke my leg running, and so I was like, "Yep, lucky done with running."
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Camille, have you had any injuries with arm wrestling?
With arm wrestling, no.
No.
Nice.
Weren't you struggling with some carpal issues for a while with your hands and wrists?
Yeah, I do have that.
Yeah,
But
so you
I
went to
don't think it's from arm wrestling. I think it's from my 27-year desk job.
Amen on that one.
Yeah.
And you went the non-surgery route.
Yep.
What was that like? How's that? How are you feeling? Like,
I'm still going the non-surgery route, and I still have, I guess I would say, flare-ups. It's way better than it was. But I see a chiropractor who does just work on my forearms. And then I see a sports massage lady who does cupping and scraping. And she gets in there deep, like I want to cry deep.
yeah, I listen to grown men scream when they get the scrape, and I'm like, I know I want it, but I don't think I want it.
But it's crazy because it helps. And again, I understand that it's just a band-aid, like it's just like getting me by, but I'm just not committed to surgery right now. So
I don't blame you.
Get away with it.
If you can get away with it.
Yeah.
I had surgery on both, and that's a doctor will tell you, a good doctor will tell you, you only need it if you cannot handle the pain. Other than that, carpal tunnel is really not that bad. But my left hand was worse, but it would lock up and I couldn't open it. I'd have to constantly run my hands under hot water, massage them just to get movement. So you wake up and you're just like, got the claw.
Yeah.
So, but, and then I had some torn ligaments in there. So, and then the right one wasn't as bad, but I caught it at sand. So I've got that against me with arm wrestling. I'm still like, you can tell a difference.
Yeah, definitely strange.
Yeah, it's weird. I find that my wrists are the weakest and they hurt the most with specific dips and front squats. Other than that, not too bad.
Yeah.
So, but front squats and dips are where I can feel that discomfort.
Anything like even push-ups. I used to be able to do a lot of push-ups, and it's just not conducive right now. Like I can't.
You got to put them on the wall.
Do you feel a difference in like the incline push-ups instead?
It's pretty much anything in that position. If my hand is like that, like even at yoga, that really brings out, like it just shows me how weak they really are.
Gotcha.
But at least they're not constantly on fire anymore. I mean, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and they would just be on fire. And I couldn't hold a makeup brush. I couldn't feel anything in my fingertips. So it was getting bad, but I'm like, of course they said have surgery, and I'm like, I won't be back. I'll figure it out. Like, I'm like, I will figure it out on my own and figure out what else I can do. So these things are working and it really does help, but I understand, like, it's just literally a band-aid for the time being.
Yeah. Crush some goals and then think,
I'm
close to retirement.
See, that's why I'm like, but I'm still doing good. So
if
I'm not broken completely, then I'm just willing to work around it.
Yeah, that's good.
What are like, let's do 3. That seems like a good number. What are 3 big things that you're hoping to accomplish by 60?
60?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 14 years.
What the freak? Wow.
Okay, we can
I'm actually gonna give you 6 months.
That
seemed like a harder question.
I mean, I hope that I'm still around arm wrestling and lifting, and maybe I even have something else. Like, I really want to learn how to play pickleball. Like, I just think
me too.
maybe I could smash the heck out of that. Maybe there could be some professional pickleballing something. I don't know.
It'll be an Olympic sport for arm wrestling.
That's why
I'm like, where the what is it? I'm gonna say it wrong. The nationals were for WAF was the pickleball course, and there was like a bunch of pickleball like courts and people like
That's the
running in and out
thing.
with their little paddles, and they were so cute.
I'm like, can't you just see like Mohawk coming out there to play pickleball? Like, I want to just smash y'all. Like, I just want to just be like, turn pickleball up to a new level. I don't know. I
We
definitely
just had a new
want to
park
learn
built by
something new.
us, and they put like several pickleball courts. So
Yeah.
it's a huge thing here.
But that's what I want to learn something new. So I'm
Okay.
interested in continuing to use my mind and like learn something new. I don't know. I want to maybe by
Camille
the time I'm
Pickleball
60.
Palmer. I can see it now.
Um, I want to keep playing my drums. Like maybe I'll be in like a small band or something. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
I love.
that's one of my therapeutic releases.
I wish I still had my set up. I
Yeah.
gave it to a teenager who he needed it for his
Right.
time in life,
Mhm.
and it wasn't going to fit in the apartment anyway, and
Yeah.
so now I'm like, dang it, I need a set back.
Right? It's a very good release. Like that's
It
just
is.
another one of those things that I'm like, if I put the effort into it, I could be really good at it. But I do it once a week, you know? Like it's just not a priority, but it's on the back burner.
It's still a hobby.
Well,
Yeah.
now I have to come and visit you so I can come play the drums.
You could I have two sets. I have acoustic and electric.
Ooh.
All right, hang on.
Stephanie and I will run
I'm gonna
vocals
look
or
up some flights
something.
real quick.
He's out. And I don't know, like I've lived in Utah all my life, and I think what's outside of this? I don't know. So for me, I guess it's just open-ended. Like, I don't know what it looks like in 14 years from now, but I hope it looks adventurous.
Mm-hmm. It will be.
Yeah.
Like when you're 60, I just meant like over the next few years.
Yeah. I know one thing, I probably won't be sitting around knitting or, I don't
No.
think I'll be that kind of person.
Do you even
I
know
don't
how
see that.
to knit?
No, and I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to do any of those things.
I don't know how to sew either. Don't feel bad. I guess that's something we women should know.
I
But
cannot say I don't know how to sew, because that was one of the things that my stay-at-home mother, who is a home ec teacher, who also has a master's in family and consumer sciences, made sure that all of her daughters and son knew how to do before they left the house.
Wow.
I mean, it really is kind of necessity. It helps you save money not having to throw away clothes.
None of my kids want to learn how to sew.
You can take in pants 2 sizes. My mom told me that at my last trip.
Interesting.
So just FYI for anybody who's curious.
I think it's really talented. So I enjoy seeing what other people's talents are. So if you're a sewer or knitter out there, I mean, listen, you're one up on me because that's something I just don't have.
I like those girls that make like the crochet animals.
Yep.
Have you seen that chick that does the really cool Halloween ones? Like she does Chucky, Predator, Star
No,
Wars.
because I don't do scary.
Okay, she does full doll, and then she goes hair and makeup and an outfit, and I think she's like something the Mad Hatter. Amazing,
Cool.
amazing stuff. So,
Kudos.
Yeah.
So you're headed to Texas.
Yep.
Oh, so this might mean a showdown between you and Sarah Ray McKinney Collins.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure she'll be there. And she's a tough competitor. And I have
All right,
one.
clickbait time. Here we go. You gonna beat her? No,
I have one win on her, and I bet if it was up to her, she would never let me get another one.
Fair enough.
She's tough, man. And she was one, I think, at first that I was like, God, can I make this girl smile? I don't know. Like, because she just has that competitor in her. But it's been really fun to get to know her and and even see her over social media. I've only been in person with her a few times, but she's really nice, and I love her as a competitor. Again, she's very fierce.
Agree. Yeah, I gotta meet her at the Invitational. She was there. She pulled the 154s. So
Yeah.
it was very cool to
And I
see her
did she
compete.
lose a face? Yeah, I think she lost a whole fingernail
She
pulling
did,
that.
and yeah,
It did.
it was it was like round 2 in, and then like round 8 it came off. But I mean, like her thumb was hurting after every single match, and she still was able to get in the top 6, I believe.
Wow.
So she definitely pushed through some big adversity there. So shout out to her for that.
Can't imagine nail.
Because ooh, like my
That
super
had to hurt.
match, my right hand super match, this was hurting right here. I was like, I want to try, y'all. And so I can't imagine having a whole injured thumb, and then like in that position they're gripping on you. Ooh,
I think of the
I'm
burning
good.
sensation. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then the chalk and the sweat and just everything. So just leave Lucky just is giving you advice. Just leave her thumb alone. Don't try
Okay.
to or
Noted.
you know or go after her thumb. You know? However you want to take this advice.
Lucky
I'll
said,
leave it in.
You said you lost that nail. Let me see that
Right.
thumb. Who is
I'm sure it's healed up by now.
Yeah.
All those
Who is somebody that you haven't got to pull but want to?
Dang it, that was my next question.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
I don't know. Because I feel like I also don't know everybody there is out there to pull. Like I'm just kind of like a West Coast, like been out here. I will say that when I pulled with Katie in Vegas, of course, again, we were just Instagram friends. We ran into each other in the lobby and we were like, oh my God, it's you. Like it was so fun to see each other. And I didn't know what it was going to be like to pull her. And she's really strong and she's really fast. And as soon as we pulled, I was like, I want a rematch. And I told her that right off the get-go because I was like, we are just very evenly matched. I just was just too slow.
Yeah, a good super match for y'all.
So I knew after I pulled her, I was like, wow, I just feel like even like our weight class, like everything, I was like, we're definitely evenly matched in that way. And it was fun for us to, again, meet up in the lobby and be real friends and hang out at the tournament all day, which we also waited for 4 hours before we pulled. And then we got to finally pull, and I was like, okay, like, and it was nice.
I know. Jody's looking for some matches to showcase at his LLD tournament, and Katie's volunteered to go, and so
yeah, she was the only woman this year.
Yeah, and so that could be a fun thing for Jody to put on. Jody, promoter,
come back,
make it happen.
So yeah, I guess new girls, I'm not sure because I feel like I don't know everybody, but Katie would be a good one that I think just the friendship is there and the training for each of us is that like we're both sober girls, we're both like come from the addiction, like there's a lot of commonalities there without us really even knowing each other. So that would be fun.
Well, I think that's another big thing that's really cool about this community is having similar backgrounds from people that you wouldn't ever get to meet otherwise. Yeah. Like, when would you have ever met Katie Hankey? Nope. You know, like maybe sitting in an airport and y'all start talking one day, but like, you know, when you're at a tournament and you get to meet all these different women, whether or not you have, you know, similar backgrounds or things in common, arm wrestling is always going to be the thing that's in common, and that kind of brings us together. And so then when you have the other things that are just like, you know, oh, I kind of struggle with this. Oh, me too. Oh, I do this. You know, we talk about, me and Scarlett talk about all the time. Does every single girl in arm wrestling have ADD? It's like, I think so.
I do notice that the women, being an arm wrestler, hers, the one that Annie runs, a lot of women are very vocal about how arm wrestling and working out just helps their mental health. It fights the depression and the demons, and it helps with the sobriety. And
Yeah.
it's cool that women are upfront about that. So I think that's welcoming as well. So, because we've got young girls coming in and they could be having body issues, and they could be thinking, well, I'm just like a little girl hanging with the big girls, but seeing us talk like this, they're like, oh, I'm okay. I'm in a safe place, so I can be myself.
Mhm.
So I think that's been real cool for me to see.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on to the last question, which is usually the longest question, and everybody gets mad at this question, but it's okay because it's my favorite part of the show. So, and then we can obviously talk about anything else that you wanted to touch on or promote or anything that you would like to say after we're done. But then my portion of the show at least is complete, which everybody else gets excited about for whatever reason. But what would be your advice for someone looking to begin in the sport, and a piece of advice for somebody who has just started in the sport?
So someone who is just beginning, and then did you
Yep.
say just starting?
Yeah, so what would be a piece of advice for somebody who's looking to get into arm wrestling? We send them the podcast. They're like, all right, I want to try this. What would be your advice for them? And then, like myself, I'm still within my first year of pulling right now. This is actually, 1 year this month was the first time I really got on the table and started like training and all that. So it's my yearversary.
Yay.
But I'm still, like I said, fairly new. And so what would be something that you would give me as like a secondary piece of advice for somebody who like I kind of know what I'm doing, but still would still like to be able to have some guidance?
So I think a little bit earlier in the podcast, I talked about I'd invited girls to come to practice, like, who I thought were strong or had either indicated, oh, I might want to try this. And I think you just have to stick with it. I mean, if it's in your heart and you think this could be for me, you just have to make it through those hard things. Like you are going to be sore. Maybe there's not practices close by. Who knows what exactly your area looks like, but you just need to be committed. And maybe that means you need to get a table at your house. Maybe that means you need to go to the gym and try some workouts, or even find a buddy. Like, everybody knows that everything's easier when you have a person. If that's a workout partner or somebody to hold you accountable, maybe it's a coach, it could be whatever. So I think if it really is something that you want to do, it takes time. I mean, look at where you've gone in your first year. Like, it takes a year to figure some stuff out. And then second part is like, I'm 3 years in and I'm still learning. And this is where again it comes in, like, I'm not going to give up. I mean, you can try to force me out. You could maybe tell me that I'm not good enough or the sport isn't right for me. But if it's something that you truly want to do, you're just going to work on it. You're going to work on your weaknesses. You're going to find the people who will support you. Like, listen, we already talked about, like, I know how to say no now. Like, this is like, you're not for me. You're not in my circle. I don't want to hear from you. Because I did have that. I had some of that who was talking very negatively about arm wrestling. And I was like, your opinion doesn't matter to me. Like, I want to do this. I want to commit to this, and I'll give it the time it deserves. So I guess time kind of is the answer for both questions. Like, you got to be willing to put the time in and give yourself time. You got to give yourself time to learn and grow. And not everybody's a natural at this. And if you are, I'm so jealous. Like, there are some people who are just naturally good. And listen, I'm so jealous of what you have, but I'm also willing to work for it. Just I might be 60. That might be in my 60-year plan, and that's okay.
Camille's no quitter.
I am not a quitter.
Nope.
That's awesome.
Except when it comes for things that are bad for her. And we're happy
That's
about
true.
that.
That's true.
And we applaud that
Yeah.
immensely.
Very much. That's a feat.
Because not a lot of people can do that.
Nope.
And so it's inspirational when you meet people who can. So great job to you. Props to you. Sorry, my computer was dying at the most inopportune moment. So, but I did I did want to circle back to just I was listening, and that is really cool. So awesome. Steph, you got anything else, boo?
I'm just sitting here smiling and enjoying everybody. What a great time.
That's not what I asked.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, stop and tell your Eddie I'm not bored. Going.
Amanda?
No, I'm good. Everything's good on my end. I've been waiting to meet and hear your story and everything because I know other women like you, and I just like, oh, if I could get Camille to meet this person and that person, they would just run the world right now with things. So I was so excited about tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely somebody, you're very inspirational. I mean, all the women are, but everybody has that little extra that clicks with somebody. So I am not fighting sobriety, but I have a lot of addicts in my family. I've lost quite a few. Last February was a heroin overdose. Prior to that, it was the alcohol. It's been everything that you can think of. So I typically don't have patience for addicts, but what I realized I learned is I actually don't have patience for the enablers. So, and I have created a boundary too for people. If somebody is fighting sobriety, they have to be at least a year sober before I can spend a lot of quality time with them. That's just a safekeeping for me because I know my triggers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm surrounded. I know a lot of people who are just fighting sobriety every day, and they're doing great. They really are, and it's amazing. So if you can make it a year, I'm like, and you've made it 12. One of my trainers is 14, and meth and speed and alcohol was her vice. So it's good. And she's doing great things, and you're doing great things in community. So you're needed. So your sobriety was so needed because you're a wonderful person,
No,
So
thank you.
kudos on you. Yeah, you need to hear that.
Again, even on your worst day, when you failed everything on that day, I'm like, you just have to look at that as a win. Like, I'm still waking up the next day. I'm still able to get out of bed and provide whatever I can that day.
Yep. I get to do all these wonderful things.
That's a win.
Yep.
Right.
Huge thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this has been great for me.
Yeah. And even on, I don't want to say superficial side, but just on like your persevering side, it's been so inspirational to me for, you being able to, continue to try and continue to say, I'm not going to give up and I'm not going to quit. And this isn't coming easy for me, but I'm not going to make it easy on others either. I'm going to give them my best self, and I'm going to push and continue to push and continue to raise the bar for myself. Like that for me was the best like push that I needed to hear. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So
Okay,
it is
and
lovely.
Pickleball next year.
Stay tuned.
The Lucky Ones podcast is all going pickleballing.
We are going to turn it
up. Well, cool. All right, so just a couple of housekeeping items before we call it quits. Unless there's anything else you wanted to say, Camille, I didn't mean to shut you down or cut you. Okay. We have the On the Rise event, October 5th. I believe I still have 4 spots available. It is an Arnold qualifier for those who do win their super matches. There is also prizes to be won as well that will be mailed to the individual winners of their super matches. I'm very, very excited. As mentioned before, we have Stephanie versus Amanda, and then Stephanie versus Katie. And Scarlett has put together a couple of matches as well. And then Hannah and Casto hopefully will get their registrations in quickly. So we'll see them on the docket as well. It'll be the same Bat channel. We did mention in December the Great American Bash. We've been pushing that for Lorraine Jenkins because we really would like the women to be able to be showcased there. He's willing to put up all the money that goes into it, and so as a thank you to him for putting us on the docket, women, if you are available, December, I believe he said 7th. The event is the 7th and the 8th, but I think he's having the women pool on the 7th. So please feel free to reach out to myself, go to his page, comment on the Lucky Podcast page. We'll get you signed up. 2 classes, but there is right and left this time because your girl is not pulling right again, ever again. So just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. But yes, look up the World Series of Arm Wrestling as well. Next week they're in Texas, June 27th. They are in Jacksonville. August 3rd, they are in Atlantic City. Kansas is in there as well. And then the finals is in San Diego, California. So again, another big push for the ladies arm wrestling. Greg Sharp is doing amazing stuff for the women. So as a thank you to him, we want to make sure we show up and turn up for him as well. Yep. So not trying to lecture you ladies, but let's get out there. We had 6 amazing competitors today at East versus West. Shout out to all of them for just giving us 3 incredible matches, 2 of which were the best of 7. Very proud of all the ladies that showed up and showed out. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it because all 3 matches you will not be disappointed in watching. So that's all I got. It was a little long-winded, but I wanted to make sure I shouted out everybody. So
okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. If you guys want to stay on the Zoom for a minute, that would be
cool. Bye guys.
Bye Camille. Thanks.
Yep.
She was the best.
All
right, I'm hopping off. Okay. I got practice tomorrow.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. If you guys want to stay on the Zoom for a minute, that would be cool.
Bye guys.
Bye Camille. Thanks.
Yep.
She was the best.
All right.